Welcome to Naturally Inspired Radio, where we expose what's broken in the healthcare system, connect you to real health solutions, and inspire you to take back control of your life. We want to help you feel empowered, informed, and free to live naturally without fear, confusion, or dependency. Download our latest book on real solutions for health at naturallyinspiredradio.com. Naturally Inspired Radio is a nationally syndicated show broadcast on over 100 radio stations, online platforms, video channels, and podcast feeds. Follow us on your favorite platform today, hit that like button, leave a comment, and engage in our special live stream chats, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Visit naturallyinspiredradio.com to learn more, register for our weekly giveaway, and explore past episodes. You can also connect directly with Tammy, follow her on all major social media platforms, and discover more about our featured guests and trusted radio partners. Are you looking for better health? Work with Tammy today and take the first step toward a healthier, more empowered lifestyle. Schedule your complimentary 30-minute lifestyle assessment to explore personalized guidance on nutrition, movement, toxin-free living, and natural beauty without pharma. Get started now and discover Tammy's preferred health products at naturallyinspiredstore.com or text Tammy directly 720-303-8868. Love the show and want to support the movement? Head over to naturallyinspiredradio.com and click on the support tab. There you'll find all the ways you can get involved. Join our Naturally Inspired community, become a preferred customer, attend one of our amazing live events, get your backstage pass for exclusive access, and connect to all things naturally inspired. Thank you for tuning in today. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
The information and other content provided on this radio show or in any linked materials is provided for informational purposes only, not intended and should not be construed as medical advice. It is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment.
Hey, welcome. It is time for Naturally Inspired Radio. Good morning if you're listening in the morning. I'm happy to be here at the morning slot. It's good. It's different, and I think it's a great way to start your day, and I'm getting great feedback from you guys, so keep it coming. You can always let me know your thoughts, your comments, things that you're thinking about the show, just by texting me, 720-303-8868. It's really me. You'll get me. I had a funny interaction today. That's why I laugh. Somebody texted me, and then strangely enough, they wanted to know who I was. Anyway, it was a really funny exchange. Anyway, I rehomed one of my kitties today, as I've, kind of shamefully acknowledged. I have way too many kitties. I don't even know how this happened, you guys. I don't even know how this happened, but it did. And so I am down to 6 kitties now. 6 kitties, still too many. So still looking for homes, but yeah, I got rid of, I didn't get rid of, I rehomed one of my kitties. And I think it's actually perfect because this couple, they live in a house. It's small, but like and it's, there's a yard, but there's not, it's not too crazy. And this particular kitty, I don't think she's really cut out for farm life, if you know what I mean. Like she just wasn't really, she's just a little bit more, she would hide more. She wasn't super outgoing. And so I thought, yeah, this one's definitely needs a new home. So, found a perfect people for her, and they've already sent me a picture saying how well she's adjusting already. Anyway, she's in a good home. Yay. I think I want like 4 kitties, so I still have a couple more to get rid of here. So anyway, I hope you're having a good morning this morning. Lots of things I want to talk about. Eek! This topic I know is it's something that we have to talk about, and the timing of it sucks. The timing is not good to talk about this. But I feel like, this is an avalanche of truth. This time we're living through, we're just like being bombarded with truth, like, oh my gosh, is there anything that's not corrupted? Don't you feel that way? I do. Is there anything that's not corrupted? Is there anybody that's not benefiting from some sort of racket? Oh my gosh. I hate even saying this. But it's true, okay? I actually should have put it in the show today. Maybe I'll put it in tomorrow. I saw this clip, and it was a guy talking about funeral homes. And he was talking about, and I'm like cringing even saying this, okay? He's talking about funeral homes and how they are not really giving you the ashes of your loved one. Yep. Not giving you the ashes of your loved one, but rather powdered concrete sometimes. And some other substances, because they can actually sell the body, as a cadaver or whatever, to science and make money off it. So they're not actually cremating. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is crazy. Like, this is a TikTok video. It's probably not true, but you know me, I got to find stuff like 3 different places before I'll bring it to you. Oh no, it's real. Yeah. Quite a few articles about it, actually. Quite a few articles about how funeral homes, when you like sign the rights away to the body, like you're giving, because you have to sign a paper, if your loved one died at a hospital, you got to release the body. They have to release the body to a funeral home, and then you have to kind of release your rights over your loved one to the funeral home. And I don't think anybody really reads that very closely, because somewhere in there, there's somewhat of a loophole. Not entirely, not saying that this is entirely legal, but this is happening. Of course, it's not legal. I don't think the concrete powder is legal and all that, but this is really happening. And if you don't believe me, you got to look it up yourself, because I thought it was not true. I wanted it to not be true, but turns out, yep, it is true. So when I say, is there anything that's not corrupt? And like, this is the time, this is the time of full transparency and exposure, whether we want it or not. It's a happening. And here we are. And so here's yet another one that, they're selling the body in its whole form for money, and then they're telling you they cremated it, and they're giving you some concrete powder, apparently. Allegedly. But there's a lot of alleging, because there's a lot of articles about this, that this indeed did happen. So yeah, I guess I find myself right now, like, is there anything that's not corrupt? Okay. But this one, I don't think a lot of people are ready for this. I think the timing is bad, but I think given everything else that's being exposed, why not do that now? And of course, I'm talking about the churches, right? So is this the transformation of the church coming? The transformation of our understanding of the church, is it coming? Because you know as well as I do, a lot of this stuff's getting out of hand, right? I mean, for goodness sakes, I saw not that long ago, there was like a documentary about charities or whatever. And, this one church was featured in it, and they're like literally flying people in on like, what do you call it? Like trapeze type things. And it's pow, pow, pow. And, pyro, what is it? Pyrotronics? I don't know. The stuff they that looks like fire on the stage during concerts and stuff. So they're doing all that. They got the big band. They got a full sounds. Like, where is this money coming from? And I've been talking about that this week because when I talk about there being a mafia, there being gangsters in every organization, the church is not excluded from that. And I told you, I screened that Sean Ryan podcast with the guy who made the docu-series about the business of religion. And so I want to share a couple clips with you on it. This is stuff you really need to know. Why? Because, well, you're about to find out. Take a listen to this.
Institutions, another $500 billion is given by Americans to nonprofits here in the U.S. So it's a massive pile of money. So where does that money go? About 44 cents of every dollar that you give to a church goes straight to salaries today.
44 cents.
44 cents of every dollar just goes straight to salaries. 25 cents goes to just buildings. And then only 6 cents of every dollar ever even leaves the institutional walls to go to the causes that Christ told us to support. The needy, the sick, the hungry, the thirsty.
So it's not even 10%. It's
not
6%.
Even 10%. Not even,
6% of all donations. What were the numbers on Christianity again that are just going to the church?
$1 trillion.
$1 trillion globally.
Globally. 600 billion nationally.
And only 6% of that goes to charity.
Well, it's untraceable. So this is voluntary data given. So remember, there's no 990s that churches file. So you don't know what they give. So 6% is kind of like the best potential outcome because they're giving you that information, or they're giving these statisticians this information. And so that's not 6% creating impact down the value chain. So that's not 6 cents of every dollar helping that orphan in Africa or that, cripple in Honduras. No. That's just 6 cents making it outside the walls. And usually what's happening now, because one thing I want to touch on is these terms auxiliaries, like we talked about with the LDS Church. Then you also have convention and association. And so a lot of times now it's just a church passing off that 6% to another business that they own. So we don't even know if it leaves.
Okay. So it's important to realize, right? So first of all, this guy's name's Nathan Apfel, and he's a Christian. Okay. So this isn't like a hit piece on Christianity. And of course, Sean Ryan is also a Christian and, attends a church and whatnot. My concern about these organizations, these mega churches, is that I think they're being used as a bit of a cover for things. I know. I mean, I'm there's just a lot of evidence here, and Candace actually was the one that brought it up when she was kind of questioning, like Charlie Kirk, and he has his organization, TPUSA, is a 501c, and it's slightly different than what a church nonprofit is. Like he mentioned there, the 990, I think it is, which is a different designation that, that goes with a nonprofit. Of course, I'm not a tax expert or anything like that, but the way I understand it is that a nonprofit has to fill out a 990, which he explains in another clip that I'm going to play for you after the break. And a church doesn't have to fill that form out to disclose where all of their spending is going. So this is a huge place to distribute funds without accountability. And I just find it interesting because he also reveals in this podcast, and I think I said this yesterday, that it wasn't actually the IRS that developed this nonprofit status for churches, like you would think, but it was the CIA that established this status. Interesting. Stay tuned, everybody. Welcome to Naturally Inspired Radio. We'll be right back.
Did you know that a single collagen supplement could support your heart health, help protect against EMF exposure, and reduce inflammation all at the same time? Our preferred foundational collagen not only supports radiant skin and joint mobility, but also promotes heart health, reduces inflammation, strengthens hair and nails, provides added protection against the effects of EMF exposure, and so much more. Our favorite collagen is super absorbable and easy to take. Just 1 tablespoon in the morning and another in the evening for maximum benefits. Here's what our listeners have to say.
This collagen is so easy to take, I've noticed a huge difference in my hair and nails after just a few weeks.
Since I started using Tammy's preferred collagen, my joints feel more flexible and my skin looks smoother.
Try it today at naturalinspiredradio.com/collagen. When you purchase from Naturally Inspired, you get access to our group health coaching call and so much more. Go to naturalinspiredradio.com/collagen.
Welcome back. I want to invite you to join us in the Naturally Inspired community. How do I do that, you ask? Well, it starts with just making one $50 purchase. You buy wellness products, you buy vitamins, you buy clean detergent. I don't know how many hours I spent prior to doing what I do now in a grocery store aisle trying to read the label. What is in this laundry detergent? What is in this soap? Is this bad for me? Is this good for me? I used to do that. But now I have a trusted source where I get all of my wellness products. And you can too. I want to invite you to join us. So go to naturallyinspiredstore.com today. We have many protocols. So say, you're struggling with hormone issues. We have a protocol for that. Are you struggling with weight? We have a protocol for that. Would you like to have a little bit more hair? We have a protocol for that. And then outside of that, we have all of these clean skincare products, all of these clean household products. I ask you to go clean in your house. It is so, so important. Last night we had our weekly wellness workshop and we talked about, metabolic health, and we got into a little bit of what exposure can do to your body. And I don't think people are aware, it affects your metabolic health. Things like forever chemicals and, phthalates and whatnot. It's really boils down to metabolic health. And so it's worth it. It's worth it to get clean in your household. We've got fantastic detergent, fantastic soaps, fantastic skincare. Of course, all of your supplementation, collagen, cellular reset. I love this product line. I wish I could just get everything in it because I know it's all good. And I would love to be able to just have an abundance of all of it. So I want to invite you to join us. Of course, you'll get access to those weekly wellness workshops just by becoming a customer. So go to naturallyinspiredstore.com today. All right, let's get back to it. Okay, so first of all, where does the money go? Did you know that? Did you know that only 6%, and the only reason we know this is because of a specific discovery from a lawsuit. So that's where they are, forced to disclose, is when they're being sued. But other than that, this stuff is never disclosed. They don't have to disclose any of this. So only 6% of whatever that church is taking in actually makes it outside of the ecosystem. And that's why I'm telling you, like I look at some of these buildings and I think, my gosh, like, we all know what it costs to run a household. Well, some of these churches you're looking at, I mean, they're massive. Just heating that sucker is going to cost a lot. And it just, the amount of people attending and the expense, it doesn't make sense. Well, this guy sheds a lot of insight onto this. Did you know that churches can actually, like, essentially swallow up businesses and have running a business be part of the church? Listen to this.
In the last 25 years, churches have become businesses. They're, smart entrepreneurs, and I tip my hat to them, are starting to take over churches. And they're seeing the opportunity to literally build conglomerates. So, like, let's say Chris, my business partner, has a nonprofit, a secular nonprofit that files a 990. It works in the mental health space, and he and I are good buddies. I run Nathan's church. It's massive. And I say, hey, Chris, why don't we bring your secular nonprofit under the fold of Nathan's church? And that church, that business now, your business is a church, and you no longer have to file 990s. And the excuse is, oh man, that frees us up from paperwork and, from the government, from Big Brother looking down on us. But what it also does is turn that organization completely dark. And so churches now are starting to acquire businesses and bringing them under their fold. And then just because those businesses are wrapped into my church, they all become churches themselves. And so now I can give 6 cents to Chris's church and say, look at or his business, which is now a church, and say, look at all the good work we're doing. And so I can also take a salary from Chris's business now, and no one ever knows about it. And so that's what we're seeing in organizations like ARC and these church planting organizations, is their whole strategy is to teach you how to grow your business, how to grow your church. You're not here to save your souls. Yeah, of course we're here to save souls, Sean. But their tagline is launch large. We want you to launch big, which means you need a soundstage, you need the big flashy lights, you need people in your seats. So we're going to teach you how to do that. And then, hey, you can also start.
I'm reminded of how some of these mega churches, specifically, I think it was Joel Osteen's church in Texas, that, when they had the hurricanes and the terrible floods and whatnot, he would not open the church, right? This is a huge criticism, that he would not open the church to the public. That just doesn't, the optics of that, right? I mean, I think we're conditioned to think of churches as a safe place, a welcoming place, non-judgmental, Christian, welcoming, welcome anybody, anytime type. Like, that's the conditioning around it. But what we've seen is this evolution into church equaling business. And I find that, I don't know, very interesting, because Candace, of course, we all know she's investigating Charlie Kirk's death. And TPUSA had like a faith division. And, Charlie was really motivated to try to, audit where all the money was coming from. And I just think, it just dawned on me, like, that's interesting. I'm not saying anything one way or another. I'm just saying that's interesting, because I think that the church designation that came from the CIA, actually, not the IRS, may be a great way to conceal things. And there's a lot of money in here. Okay, so like the LDS, they're projected to have $1 trillion investment portfolio, like in the upcoming years, like not far off. $1 trillion investment portfolio. They're the number 2 land owner. Like they own the second most amount of land. So when I say, these things, like, I mean, I hate to say it like this, and what do I know, right? But like, put your Tony Soprano filter on, and the world makes a lot more sense. You look at everything like, well, what would Tony Soprano do in this situation, And things start making a whole lot more sense. It's not, I said, at the start of the show, this is terrible timing. And the reason why it's terrible timing is because, well, we're being invaded. We're being invaded. And, we're being told we have no American culture. And so, it's just, isn't it just amazing when you look at everything that's been under attack, right? There's been, American culture has been I think we're the most under attack out of any country in the world. And the frustrating thing about it is nobody recognizes it. Like, we're at war. Our foundation is at war. Our principles are being challenged. Our beliefs are being challenged. Our gender is being challenged. Like, everything is being challenged right now in the West and really in America. And then when you see how things are starting to unfold, you're like, that's why. Right? Because if a country has no culture, well, then leaves it wide open, doesn't it? It leaves it wide open for the people here to shape it for themselves. We haven't got any culture, right? No, Christianity is part of American culture. So, but we do have trouble, right? We do have trouble here. So you see, like, it's conflicting, right? That's what I mean by bad timing. It's like, but this is real. This is a real problem. This is a real problem. What are they doing behind this veil? This protective veil that they have? And who's doing it? Is it foreign governments funding churches to influence and to be able to funnel money where they want it to because it has this built-in concealment mechanism to it? I'm just asking questions. I don't know. I'm not accusing anybody of anything, but like, what a good mechanism to do it with, Because these churches are out of hand, in this podcast, he talks about a number of high-profile type of pastors who are living in $28 million homes. They've got their own hunting, grounds in their homes, and their congregation has no idea that they're actually paying the rent, paying the mortgage on this pastor's home because of the loopholes that are available to this designation of 501c church. So, super interesting here. And I think it's, I just like, if there's a theme right now that I think we're all thinking, it's so tired of the corruption. We really just need to get back to basics. We really need to get back to basics. And this little scandal here, which isn't a little scandal, right? This is kind of a big scandal. This has the potential to really leave a black mark on Christianity at a time when we are being infiltrated. And make no mistake about it, there's propaganda happening. There's a promotion of Sharia law, of Muslim religion. I'll tell you what I mean later in the show about that, but stay tuned. This is Naturally Inspired Radio. I'm Tammy Cuthbert Garcia. And I'm so glad you're here. We'll be right back in 1 minute.
Did you know 80% of beef consumed in the U.S. comes from 4 major corporations, much of it being imported or processed with additives? Want real beef from a real farm? Pumpkin Creek Ranch does things the right way. Local, grass-fed, dry-aged beef with no additives, no shortcuts, just honest quality.
Pumpkin Creek Ranch beef is the real deal. I love knowing exactly where my meat comes from. No additives, no nonsense, just honest quality beef.
Best beef I've ever had. You can taste the difference. Rich, tender, and packed with real flavor. Plus, supporting a local ranch makes it even better.
From pasture to plate, they raise their cattle with care, so you can get rich, natural flavor that only real ranching can provide. Stock your freezer with premium beef you can trust. Visit pumpkincreekranchco.com or call 970-658-0176.
I bet there's a lot of people listening to this right now thinking, oh, I'm so glad I got this small time little church. If you have, I was like, I've never just been able to find just a pure, one room, tiny little church where somebody's just, talking about truth and just supporting people, encouraging people. It's always this bigger thing. And it's always about the money and getting bigger and growing and all this. And I just, it's always been a turnoff to me. And I'm not judging anybody for, obviously, I think it's great. If you have a place that you like to go, that's fantastic. But once again, I feel like, I'm glad I listened to my gut, I mean, I followed some of these pastors in the past, people like Joel Osteen, who's very heavy into personal development. And I definitely felt encouraged by his message. I didn't really understand how big his business was. I think I was kind of naive to that at the time. But it served its purpose. It kind of, gave me some inspiration or whatever. But now I'm seeing it from kind of a different point of view. And like I said before, everybody's got a racket. And I think I think everybody that's in these churches, that sits on these boards, that's part of these organizations, are they in on it? No. But also I think maybe, it's really hard to convince somebody that whoever's paying them is maybe not all that ethical, They just kind of look the other way because that's where the paychecks come in and everything's going good and they don't want that to stop. And so it's ignorance by choice, kind of. It's very hard, right? It's very hard for people to admit what's going on when they're getting paid. But here's some more description from Nathan Apfel about his deep dive into what goes on with these churches. Take a listen.
Differentiator in the nonprofit sector that everybody has to realize. A secular nonprofit files what's called a 990 with the IRS. This form is an informational sheet that you are legally held to account to. So if you lie on this form, you're going to get busted. So if Sean, you have a nonprofit and I donate to you and I feel like something shady's going on and the IRS comes out and audits you and realizes that you lied on your 990, they can hold you accountable. So it's strictly an accountability form that says, hey, here's how Sean's nonprofit is using the money. Churches do not have to file that form.
Really?
So there is no legal document that any church is held to account to. So what that means is financials are whatever leadership wants it to be. And so right there's a massive breakdown in accountability. So I call the church, I call my PIs and my PIs are like, okay, the only document we have is from 2005, I believe. And it's because someone sued, the church got sued. And so they did discovery. So they have what's called a housing allowance list. And so this is really unique to churches in the US. Pastors can take a tax-free housing stipend if they want. And so the language in the IRS code is something along the lines of your tax-free housing allowance has to be within means. So it's a gray definition, which means if you've got good lawyers, well, Sean, you're a celebrity. You should live like Oprah. You should be able to live in a $40 million home or a 28,000 foot home in Tampa or whatever. And so you can offset your tax burden in a major way if you take more payment via housing allowance and not via salary, if that makes sense. So this housing allowance document showed that this pastor was taking $240,000 a year in a housing.
Little loopholes, right? So on top of his, so the congregation or who knows if it's the congregation, like that's a lot of money coming in through these churches. So the monies that they're collecting, they're essentially, they have these loopholes where, he can pay this much on his dwelling, on his home, and the congregation doesn't even necessarily know that exists. And so when people are giving to the church or when they receive monies into the church, nobody really knows where the money is going. And that feels deceptive, right? Especially when some of these, there was one, I guess, pastor in Texas recently that got pinched because it was just so blatant. Guy had like 4 jets and his own runway, it's out. Again, it doesn't matter what group you're a part of. Humans are susceptible to corruption. And just because something looks a certain way on the outside doesn't mean it is. And we have to keep that really in the forefront of our minds these days, because we're going through this like shedding, it feels like we're shedding corruption because it's being exposed everywhere. For goodness sakes, stuff that I was talking about 6 years ago that I was getting told, oh, you're crazy, tinfoil hat, total conspiracy theorist. Like it's in the mainstream. It's right, like mainstream people just talking about it like it's nothing. Chris Cuomo, right, did a piece on cancer, that the COVID vaxes are contributing to cancer. Chris Cuomo, right? Boom. I don't even know how Chris Cuomo has space anymore in media. The guy, obviously an actor, and was just so gross during COVID, faking that he had a positive test and then faking he was in quarantine in his basement and then filming himself coming out of quarantine when he had been out the whole time. Like, it's just brutal, you guys. It's just brutal. There doesn't seem to be any, people don't remember. It's almost like they don't remember. And I think I covered a story about like cognitive decline in our country because of technology and the amount of time that we're spending on the algorithm, and it's doing so much thinking for us that we aren't sharpening higher faculties like memory. And so like if we're not imagining it, and even response, like we think, oh, why aren't people responding to situations appropriately? Like if you see a crime, you do something, right? But no, people are just standing there filming. And I'm like, okay, is that because we have a culture that seems to be, prosecuting people who actually help during a crime? They're actually getting put in jail. Is it that? Or is it that we're actually have lost empathy, which is a higher faculty, right? It's a higher emotional faculty. Have we lost empathy? Are we losing our memory? Do people not remember that Chris Cuomo was a freaking liar? 'Cause I do. His lying was like really bad. I guess there's just no consequences to that anymore. We just like welcome him back into the media space. Oh, it's Chris Cuomo. Yuck. 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 It seems like everybody's forgetting a good test of somebody's character is how they acted in COVID. What'd they do? That's a great test of character. And Chris Cuomo, in my opinion, failed. But yet he's welcome. He's fine to be there in the space, people watching him. It's kind of baffling to me how people just forgetting stuff. So it's interesting because I think it's probably going to come from Candace. A lot of people hating on Candace. They don't want to hear this. They don't want to hear that, she's on to something. Yep. Something's coming here. And she's going to pull back the layers on this. And I think a lot of mega church people are panicking because I'm seeing a lot of pastors now making their own videos talking about how Candace is crazy. Don't listen to her. She's crazy. She's crazy. But she's not, because this is true, right? Like, they don't have to disclose this stuff. And this would be a great place to kind of, funnel money and stuff. And nobody's outside of sin, right? We're all sinners, right? And so I don't think anybody gets a pass. I don't think anybody gets a pass. I think this needs to be exposed. What's really going on here? Who's contributing to shape culture in America? I want to know. And you should want to know too. Because these forces that have what? My goodness. I mean, just one church, LDS, projected to have $1 trillion in assets in their portfolio. My goodness. That's a lot of power. That's a lot of power when we are in a pay-to-play society. And that is what we're in. There is no doubt in my mind. We are in a pay-to-play society. It is not merit-based anymore. It is not value-based anymore. It's not even belief-based, right? You can pretty much buy your way into anything. You don't even have to be good at it. You can buy your way into college. Like people do it all the time, right? Buy your way into these higher institutions. It's just, like I said, like everything is up for scrutiny because everything appears to have some level of corruption to it. So, you can't even cremate your loved one anymore and get their ashes. You might get a bag of cement dust. It's just how it is. I don't know, you can see the steps on how we got here. There's been a coordinated effort to pick away at the values of America, at the culture of America, to wipe it away. So you don't even remember who you are. You don't have a culture, right? You don't have anything that's yours. So let this new culture take shape. Well, there's been a lot of sellouts, and your church is not exempt from this. Sadly. Who's paying these churches? Who's funding them? I think we need to know. Stay tuned. Your naturally inspired moment is next. 5 reasons that you have to have a vision for your desired health outcome. You're not going to want to miss it. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Did you know that nearly 70% of Americans struggle with their health every single day? That's why we are reaching out to health professionals and to anyone who simply has a heart for helping people. Right now, there's an opportunity to make a real difference in people's lives while building a flexible income stream for yourself. Whether you're already working in health, wellness, or just passionate about seeing people thrive, we want to connect with you and introduce you to our system. Together, we can provide real solutions that empower people to take control of their health and create lasting impact. If you've been looking for a way to combine purpose with income, this is it. Visit simplehealthincome.com or text 720-764-7448. That's simplehealthincome.com or text 720-764-7448. We look forward to working with you.
I want to invite you to book a session with me. And it is gift giving season. It's December. And I know so many people that I talk to that, they want this supplement. They would really like to get this, oh, I'd really like to get that. I'm going to put that on my wish list. Clean skincare, collagen. I've had many people tell me, I'm going to ask for this for Christmas. And so I started thinking about that, and I want to invite you, okay? If you know somebody who's into wellness, that may be working on their optimum health, right? Maybe they're on a weight loss journey. Maybe they're, trying to repair their gut. Maybe they are looking at dealing with menopause issues, or maybe they just really want to take better care of their skin. And this is something they've been talking about. If you know somebody like that, but you're not really sure what would fit the bill for them, book an assessment with me. Book an assessment with me and bring your information on that person, and together we'll put together a beautiful gift for them, a gift of wellness. So I want to invite you to do that. You can book here at naturallyinspiredstore.com. There's a place to book a assessment with me, and we'll meet on Zoom or we'll meet over the phone. I'll ask you a few questions about the person. What are their goals? What have you heard them talk about? And together we will put together the perfect gift for your loved one or for your friend. There's nothing better, there's nothing better than giving somebody something that they truly want, and I'm here to tell you, I talk to people all the time that are like, I'm going to put this on my wish list. This is what I want. I really wish I could get this, So if you've heard them talk about that, this is a great opportunity because I can dial it in for you. We can get it ordered and have it there for Christmas. And it'll be a wonderful gift of wellness. So book your assessment with me for gift giving. It's concierge gift giving service is what it is. Very fancy. naturallyinspiredstore.com. All right, let's get to the naturally inspired moment for today, because I want to talk about 5 reasons that you must have a vision for your desired health outcome. So when I'm talking to people, they're talking about, talking about swollen joints, maybe arthritis, or maybe, gut issues, or maybe lung issues, or, inflammation, whatever. Okay. And one of the questions I'd like to ask is, okay, so you really want this arthritis to go away. Let's just use arthritis as an example. Do you know what a healthy joint looks like? And people kind of look at me like, what? Yeah. So if it's your knee, say it's their knee. Do you know what a healthy knee looks like? Well, you may know what it looks like from the outside, but do you know what a healthy knee looks like on the inside? And all the time, most of the time, people say, no, not really. I guess not. And it's very important that you have a vision for what health looks like. Because if you don't have a vision for what you want, then you're leaving opportunity on the table. So you can, wish all you want. Oh, I wish my knees were better. I wish my knees were better, and maybe you eat better, or maybe you start taking collagen or supplementation. But, and that's all great. But if you really want to add the extra sauce onto your body's well-being, use this. Use the power of your mind. And you can't really utilize it unless you know what it looks like. So it's easy enough to do. If you want to change your health, you have to start by seeing it. You can't just wish for it. Most people are trying to heal without a vision for what healed even looks like. And then they wonder why they feel stuck. Vision gives the mind and body a destination. So 5 reasons you absolutely need a clear picture of the health that you desire. Number 1, your body follows the picture you hold. Your biology listens to your thoughts and whatever you repeat. If you're constantly picturing sickness, stress, decline, your nervous system responds in kind. But when you hold a vision of a strong, energized, healthy body, your physiology shifts toward that outcome. What does a healthy cell look like? Look it up. I mean, there's tons of stuff on YouTube, right? There's great, graphics for it, and even, live footage of things like lungs, things like knees. Look up what a healthy cell looks like, because a healthy cell is a vibrating cell. It moves, right? The outside of it is mobile. It moves around, whereas a sick cell looks much different. A dysfunctional cell looks much different. And compare the two, right? And you can get a visual for healthy cells in your practice every day. When you take a little bit of time out, whether it's meditation or prayer, you can build a vision for healthy cells that are running through your body if you know what they look like. The same is true if it's your lungs, right? If you're having lung issues, respiratory issues, get a good vision for what it looks like to have healthy lungs and healthy tissue, and visualize that every day. So your body follows the picture you hold. When you start to feel worried about your health, when you start to feel like, you're focusing more on the negative than you are the positive, you can bring that picture up in your mind. Very powerful. Vision creates direction, not confusion. So instead of guessing at your next step, a clear health vision tells you what to say yes to and what to walk away from. I always use this as an example when I'm talking with people. If you have trouble with sugar and whatnot, I want you to close your eyes and think about inflammation in the body, right? From the outside of your body, when you have inflammation, it's red, it's puffy, right? It looks like fire kind of. So it looks like that on the inside. That's what it looks like on the inside. And sugar, well, that might as well be lighter fluid on fire. So when you eat sugar, it just blows up inflammation. When you starve the body from sugar and you eat adequate amounts of protein and healthy fats, you lessen the fire. So that's kind of the vision that you can have in your mind about it. Instead of guessing at your next step, you can have a vision of it. Decisions get easier when you know exactly where you're going and why you're going there. Your habits align with what you see. So people don't rise to motivation. They rise to identity. When your vision is, I am a healthy person, you naturally choose food that's healthy. You choose movement. You choose a sleep hygiene routine, and you choose boundaries that protect that identity. I mean, really, look at what I do, right? I'm out here every day talking about health. What would happen if I was out there smoking cigarettes and eating McDonald's? Identity crisis, right? It's like I've made this part of my identity. I got to practice what I want to, but also like boundaries are in place because I'm out here speaking about this publicly. So you can do the same thing for yourself, declare it to other people. I'm getting healthier. I'm changing some of my habits right now. It doesn't mean you have to be perfect all the time. It doesn't mean that. Nobody's perfect. So don't think that by declaring that you're changing to other people, that it's going to make everybody, like I have to be perfect. I have to be perfect. No, you don't. It's not what it's about, but it is about claiming it as part of your identity. And when you tell people, I'm making healthier choices now. Yeah, I'm making healthier choices. I want better results with my health. So, I've been lacking in energy. I'm tired of carrying around this weight. Whatever the issues are that you have, you can explain to people. And guess what? People that love you will support you. I think that's great. Man, you look great. What are you doing? This is what happens when you claim it as an identity. You must know what healthy organs look like. This is so important. And I know if you're squeamish, take it slow. But it is really important. Do you know what your liver looks like? It's important to know because a healthy liver it looks a certain way. Do this. Just have a little fun here. Put it in YouTube. And, look up a healthy pair of lungs. Look up, and I think right away what comes up is smoker's lungs as well. The comparison between healthy lungs and smoker lungs, and, they look different. So that's what you need to do though. Like, do that for your liver. What does a healthy liver look? What does a healthy thyroid look like? What does my thyroid even look like? What about my gut lining? Right? What does a healthy gut lining look like, or a brain? And how can you aim for it? Right? That's what you need to know. But you got to have a vision first. When you learn what healthy tissue looks like or what healthy cells look like, they're clean, they're strong, they're oxygenated, they're really vibrating. That's not a word. They're nourished. And you can visualize your own organs healing. You can visualize them repairing. Oh, okay. So they don't look like that right now, but this is what I want them to look at. It's your biggest tool. Your brain is your biggest tool. Your mind, your consciousness is your biggest tool. And most of the time, we're leaving it out of the equation when it comes to health. So help your body. Bring it back into balance. Awareness creates intention, and intention creates change. And without a vision, stress wins. Worry sets in because a stressed mind looks for danger. A healed mind looks for possibility. Vision shifts the nervous system from survival to creation, which activates healing pathways you can't access in a fear state. And last night on the weekly wellness workshop, we talked quite a bit about being in a fear state. And often when you get a diagnosis, right, or you have symptoms, which I call signals, we immediately go into fear state about it. And we just want to shut it up. We have to stop interpreting that, symptoms as, right into fear, something that has to be silenced. I try to teach people to accept signals from their body as communication, because that helps push fear to the side. And then you can really get out of fear state and you can begin this healing process, but it starts with a vision. So go look up healthy organs, healthy cells, and create a vision for the inside of your body and your optimum health. We'll be right back. This is Naturally Inspired Radio.
Are you ready to stay informed and inspired 24/7? Tune in to Naturally Inspired Radio anytime, anywhere. Visit naturallyinspiredradio.com, or for the best mobile experience, download the Simple Radio app. Search for Naturally Inspired Radio, save it to your favorites, and click on the graphic to listen instantly. Catch live broadcasts, revisit past shows, dive into long-form podcast conversations, and discover rare, censored presentations by leading health experts. Plus, Explore documentaries uncovering the hidden truths of occult and esoteric history. Stay connected, stay inspired. Naturally Inspired Radio is always at your fingertips. Tune in now. For health questions or comments, text Tammy directly at 720-303-8868. NaturallyInspiredRadio.com.
Welcome to Naturally Inspired Radio, where we expose what's broken in the healthcare system, connect you to real health solutions, and inspire you to take back control of your life. We want to help you feel empowered, informed, and free to live naturally without fear, confusion, or dependency. Download our latest book on real solutions for health at naturallyinspiredradio.com. Naturally Inspired Radio is a nationally syndicated show broadcast on over 100 radio stations, online platforms, video channels, and podcast feeds. Follow us on your favorite platform today, hit that like button, leave a comment, and engage in our special live stream chats, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Visit naturallyinspiredradio.com to learn more, register for our weekly giveaway, and explore past episodes. You can also connect directly with Tammy, follow her on all major social media platforms, and discover more about our featured guests and trusted radio partners. Are you looking for better health? Work with Tammy today and take the first step toward a healthier, more empowered lifestyle. Schedule your complimentary 30-minute lifestyle assessment to explore personalized guidance on nutrition, movement, toxin-free living, and natural beauty without pharma. Get started now and discover Tammy's preferred health products at naturallyinspiredstore.com or text Tammy directly 720-303-8868. Love the show and want to support the movement? Head over to naturallyinspiredradio.com and click on the support tab. There you'll find all the ways you can get involved. Join our Naturally Inspired community, become a preferred customer, attend one of our amazing live events, get your backstage pass for exclusive access, and connect to all things naturally inspired. Thank you for tuning in today. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
The information and other content provided on this radio show or in any linked materials is provided for informational purposes only, not intended and should not be construed as medical advice. It is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment.
Welcome back. I'm just enjoying my coffee here. I tell you what, Jason makes the best coffee on the planet. He really does. If you ever come to my house, you'll get a taste because he always makes coffee after we have dinner guests over. And he makes the very best coffee. I tell you what, he does. So I'm enjoying that this morning. I hope your morning is going good. I hope the week is off to a great start. You're keeping your promises to yourself. You're eating the way you should be eating for, the goals that you have, and that you're moving your body and all that stuff. So important. to keep things going, some momentum. I also want to invite you to go to the Naturally Inspired store because we have many protocols that we talk about here on the show all the time. Things for hormone, things for prostate health, things for hair, for collagen, for joints rather, for inflammation, where Jason's doing a fantastic job of building these little protocols so that they're easy for you to find. And you can just hit one button and it'll tell you my recommendations. So I think that'll be really helpful for you. Head on over there and check it out. Tell me what you think. Text me at 720-303-8868. Again, don't forget, I'm inviting you to do your holiday shopping with me. Would you like a holiday shopper companion? Let it be me. Let it be me. No, seriously though, give the gift of wellness this holiday season. People want to feel better. And a lot of times they can't take the plunge and invest in themselves. They buy stuff for their dog. They buy stuff for their cat. And they just don't feel like they can buy stuff for themselves. So give them that gift. Give them the gift of natural skincare. Give them the gift of collagen. Give them the gift of anti-inflammatory cellular reset. Trust me, they want it. They want it. So what a great way to gift this holiday season. You can book your free assessment with me, and I'll be your little holiday shopper companion. Book it at naturallyinspiredstore.com. It's really me. We can meet on Zoom. We can meet over the phone, whatever way you like, but I can help dial in the protocol that you want for your friend or loved one. Okay, let's get to some news stories because there's some stuff happening, and I think it's pretty. It's good. I think it's good. We'll see. We'll see where it goes because, like I said, and I'm always saying this. Things are run like corporations these days, and politics is very much, negotiations. I'll give you this if you give me that. I'll give you this if you give me that, and we see a lot of that. And that's just the way it is. It's the game. It's been played like this for decades now. And it doesn't seem to matter who's in charge. Clearly we're doing better, with the administration that's in charge now. And I think that was the only decision that should have and could, and thank goodness got made. But we're still dealing with the way the country's set up. And it's set up for business. It's set up for corporations, and let me tell you, it's pay to play, and that's the way it is. So we'll see. But I think this is interesting. Did you hear Trump talking? And of course, he had a cabinet meeting yesterday, and a lot of really good information coming out of that cabinet meeting. One being SNAP reform. So holy moly, check this out.
The national conversation during the Democrat shutdown was SNAP reform, food stamp reform. When all of America saw what so many of us know and have been working on, but when you have so much rampant fraud in a program that 42 million Americans participate in, now a big good piece of news that I hope is written about, since you became president, about 800,000 of those 42 million have moved off of food stamps, which is hopefully the plan with better jobs, higher wages, etc. But still, when we found 186,000 dead people's Social Security numbers being used, 500,000 people receiving benefits more than twice. We had a couple of people receiving benefits in 6 states. In February of this year, we asked for all the states for the first time to turn over their data to the federal government, to let the USDA partner with them to root out this fraud, to make sure that those who really need food stamps are getting them, but also to ensure that the American taxpayer is protected. 21 states said yes, not surprised. 29 states said yes, not surprisingly, the red states. And that's where all of that data, that fraud comes from. But 21 states, including California, New York, and Minnesota, the blue states, continue to say no. So as of next week, we have begun and will begin to stop moving federal funds into those states until they comply and they tell us and allow us to partner with them to root out this fraud and to protect the American taxpayer. As Joe Biden was working to buy an election a year ago, he increased food stamp program funding by 40%. So now as we continue to roll that back.
Well, isn't it just amazing? Because, did it take all this to figure out that there was a lot of fraud in the food stamp program? Because I think they probably could have just asked you or I, right? Like they could have just said, hey, what do you know about food stamp fraud? And like we've all known somebody that works the system, right? I mean, when I lived in Canada, I knew people that worked the system. And when I moved here, I know people who work the system, right? There's all these little backdoor ways of working the system. You have a few kids, and you get you don't don't have a father living in the home. You get some assistance, but really the father lives in the home. That kind of thing, or the selling of these SNAP benefit cards, right? The EBT cards, where 25% off or 50% off. Like this has been going on forever, and most of us just kind of like it irritates us. But what are we going to do about it? Right? We know it happens, and we just kind of like, okay. But really, like, why are these states saying no? So there are states, 21 of them, that just, they're not doing it. No, you're not going to audit our SNAP program. We're not interested in reforming. We're not interested in cleaning up the fraud. Well, that doesn't even make sense, does it? So what you hiding? What are you hiding? Because, we knew when Doge rolled in, we found a whole bunch of like weird programs. Like, people are getting money that, apparently are dead. They're getting, same with voter fraud, right? We saw people who voted who were dead. Like, what's happening here? What's happening here? With all of the AI and technology and tracking and tracing, I mean, for goodness sakes, our phones are listening to everything we do and pumping out ads in real time based on our conversations. You're telling me you can't send the right money places? I'm not buying it. It's like they don't want to clean it up. They don't want to clean it up. So the question is, why don't you want to clean it up? What's going on there? What's going on there? I doubt we'll find out, but it's an interesting concept because as we move into more digital revolution stuff, these will be the cases that are built for the implementation of mass surveillance and tracking and the digital ID system. Well, the fraud. So I don't know how they're going to I feel like it's scatter beans right now in a lot of places. Everybody's trying to cover their tracks and get things in order before everything goes digital, because there's going to be a lot exposed. You're not going to be able to hide a lot. Of course, the upper echelon of peoples who don't play on our game board, they got their own separate game board over there. The conditions are a lot better over there, by the way. But, they're not going to have to play by the rules, but we are. And so all this stuff is going to go away. This trading of EBT cards and whatnot, because you won't be able to. So I don't know why these states are so hesitant to comply, but like, that's a big red flag. What are you hiding? What are you hiding? Because we'd all like to know. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of, good people having to pick up the slack all the time. Meanwhile, everybody seems to be running some kind of racket. Everybody seems to be, like the churches are running a racket. The health system is a racket. It's all about funding for pharmaceutical solutions. And then, health insurance isn't getting subsidized from our tax payments, or our tax dollars are subsidizing these massive monopolies of health insurance. Like, I started the show off talking about, like, is there any place that there isn't some kind of corruption going on? I'm not really sure. I'm probably not in your house, right? Are we a bunch of suckers or what? Like, we're out here just trying to do the right, play by the rules and do the right things. And, everybody just like seems to have a racket going on. And, but I think it's getting exposed, right? It's really getting exposed. Like I said, people who I would have never have thought would be having the conversations around this type of thing are having them. And that's a good thing, right? Like, because that means that people are becoming a lot more aware. And when they're aware, they're going to act differently. And that's really where our power lies, is in how we respond, what actions we take, right? We don't have to get all crazy, right? Just say no. Yeah, not doing that. That's really where our power lies. We got to build up our confidence, though. And I think we build up our confidence when we start saying, hey, you guys aren't that great, actually. You guys are a bunch of fraudsters, a bunch of gangsters. You're running a racket here. Becomes obvious. That's when people start changing the way they do things. You're listening to Naturally Inspired Radio. Stay tuned. Be right back.
Did you know that a single collagen supplement could support your heart health, help protect against EMF exposure, and reduce inflammation all at the same time? Our preferred foundational collagen not only supports radiant skin and joint mobility, but also promotes heart health, reduces inflammation, strengthens hair and nails, provides added protection against the effects of EMF exposure, and so much more. Our favorite collagen is super absorbable and easy to take. Just 1 tablespoon in the morning and another in the evening for maximum benefits. Here's what our listeners have to say.
This collagen is so easy to take, I've noticed a huge difference in my hair and nails after just a few weeks.
Since I started using Tammy's preferred collagen, my joints feel more flexible and my skin looks smoother.
Try it today at naturalinspiredradio.com/collagen. When you purchase from Naturally Inspired, you get access to our group health coaching call and so much more. Go to naturalinspiredradio.com/collagen.
Welcome back. You're listening to Naturally Inspired Radio. Did you know we're here Monday through Friday? We've got a new time, 7 a.m. Mountain Time, but we're here. We've been here. We've been doing this 6 years now, actually, 6.5 years. And every week, a couple hours every day, we're here talking about real solutions for health. We started this as a mission to change the medical model. Why? Because in 2019, my kids grew up, before then, I had known for many years, given, my own experiences in the medical model, that the medical model was very broken, that people didn't understand how to curate health in their own bodies, that they were giving away agency to the pharmaceutical model of allopathic medicine and just assuming a lot of things about their bodies that wasn't right and created a lot more problems for people. I saw that many years ago through my own experiences. So in 2019, my kids got a little older, started driving and stuff. I got, oh my gosh, I better get a life or I'm going to be a crazy cat lady, which is funny because I did get a life, but I'm still a crazy cat lady because I don't know how I ended up with all these cats. Anyway, isn't that crazy? But so that's why we started doing this. I really wanted to spread the message that there were better ways to curate health in your body, that you didn't have to, resign yourself to a lifetime of medication, that your body is just absolutely amazing. When you treat it right, when you understand its communication, it can work really good for you. And so that's why we started it. That's why I started back in 2019, spreading this message and doing the work with clients, helping them connect to real solutions for health. And it's just grown from there. It's grown from there. But now more than ever, we need everybody to understand how to curate health in their body and connect them to real solutions for health. They need to know this because our freedom when it comes to medical choice and whatnot has been challenged. Very, very much been challenged. You know it, right? Through COVID and whatnot. So it's more important than ever because nobody can argue with results. And when people get results with their health the right way through responding to their body's communication and connecting to the real solutions, which is lifestyle based, 97% of everything that's going on in everybody's body these days in terms of chronic illness is lifestyle related. So once you find that out, you have a lot more control over your body and the choices you make, and you feel empowered and you change the way you do things. So that is what Naturally Inspired is all about. And I know we have a lot of new listeners and a change in time as well. So I just wanted to take a moment to explain to you what this is all about. This isn't just another show. This is about creating change in our country and really making an impact so that we can save our freedom when it comes to our own bodies and how we choose to treat our health. So you support the show and you support the mission when you become a customer of Naturally Inspired. And you can do it right at naturallyinspiredstore.com. Many of these things you're already buying already. You're buying multivitamins, you're buying collagen, you're buying, vitamins for inflammation, all of these different things you're already buying already. Sometimes you pick them up at Costco. Sometimes you pick them up at Walmart. Sometimes you pick them up. I'm just saying, you know what? I bet my quality in my partnered product line is better. In fact, I know it is. I absolutely 100% know it is. I can guarantee you that. And the price point is similar. So there's really no reason to not shop with Naturally Inspired if you understand the mission and you're on board with the mission and you want freedom in the future for yourself and your healthcare and your children. So consider it because I'm inviting you to become part of the Naturally Inspired community. Go to naturallyinspiredstore.com today. Make your first purchase. You'll get a text from me. You get put on my WOA, which is my words of encouragement that goes out every morning. You get personal access to me on my health text line. I answer and converse with people all day long about real solutions for health. You get our Tuesday night weekly wellness workshop. And that's just a 30-minute presentation on a health topic. And then it's us as a community exchanging comments, questions back and forth. And so if that sounds like something that you want to be a part of, join us today. All right, this next story I got to work myself up for because I don't want to go off. I don't want to get crazy. And I can get crazy for sure because it really makes me annoyed because I see what they're doing here. I see what they're doing here, okay? And I don't like it. I don't like it. What's happening? What is she talking about? Well, let me just play you this clip, okay? This is Gary Brecka. You know who Gary Brecka is? He's kind of like a health influencer, I would say, a health influencer. He's got some great information. He worked in, he was an underwriter for health insurance. So he used to gauge people's, risk as companies take on policies. His job was to crunch data and kind of figure out what kind of liability people were. And he did that for a very long time. And then he kind of flipped the fences because he had all this data and he knew that if somebody got put on X medication, that within 6 years, they were going to need this surgery. And he could time it down to the month. So that's kind of his background. And you probably know who he is. He's had a lot of exposure. Well, let me just play the clip and then we'll chat. Here it is, Gary Brecka.
to do that.
First, thank you.
Yeah.
And so I guess taking it back to that. So I was so afraid of losing the millions of followers and the millions of likes and the partnerships that I built with the brands. They all invested into this girl who was showing her body. And so I guess throughout all the times where I was experiencing the most success, I felt the most emptiest. I wasn't close to family at the time. I had friends, but slowly, the more that I was focused on my career, the less of the friends that I had. So I just felt very alone and empty. I did have my team around me, but I had a conversation with my manager, and he spoke about giving charity, like all the success that I was getting, that I needed to give back because I was 20, 21, 22 years old. You don't know what to do with all the money that you're earning. And so all I was doing was shopping, not managing it well. And so as soon as I started giving in charity, I then started realizing the creator continues to give to me. Like, yes, I'm posting and I'm working hard, but where is all this success coming from? And so I felt the need to just like look into every single faith. And I grew up in a background where my mom was a Catholic revert. So she converted to Islam when she married my dad. But I kind of had differences of opinions with the religion of Islam because of culture and the way that culture kind of represents Islam and not really the religion. So I started just looking into the meaning of believing in a higher power, giving back.
I don't know, you guys. I just don't buy it. Let me tell you, there is a propaganda campaign on the rise to promote the Muslim religion. You're going to see this kind of stuff. You're going to see this kind of stuff. And I don't know how much she paid to go on Gary Brecka's podcast. I don't know if she paid anything. Okay. I don't know. But I kind of do. You know? What's going on here? What are we doing here? What are we doing here? Okay. The fitness industry, this is what Gary Brecka tweeted or X'd, whatever you want to call it, about this. He said, the fitness industry tells women to, quote, show more skin to grow. Leanna Deeb did the opposite and blew up. That right there is oppression. Okay. And that Sharia law is not conducive with the Western way of life. It isn't. You know, and it may be presented on a shiny platter right now as cool. And, because, yeah, you're right. How do you pierce through the noise on social media? I ask myself all that all the time because I just get inundated with people trying to sell me stuff, people that just want something from me. And I see all of the same types of posts, with, the workouts where the girls have the tights with the thing up their butt and you can just, see everything and they're slowly bending over, nobody works out like that, but they do. So I get it. It's like, yeah, seen one, seen them all. Seen one, seen them all. Right? Doesn't it feel like that to you? It's totally boring on there, in my opinion. But how do you pierce through the noise? Oh, maybe something like this. Maybe something like this, right? Maybe you're just not getting the kind of eyes that you want to get on yourself. And so maybe you just get a little crazy and you go the opposite, right? You go to the opposite. The problem is, everybody, the opposite is oppressive. And I don't know if you've noticed, but there's like a big attention on places like Abu Dhabi and Dubai. Oh, they're so great. They're so great. I saw an influencer. I'm in Dubai, and let me tell you, it's not like people say it is. It's fantastic here. They're moving men off the beach right now because it's women and children time on the beach. So where they're taking away the men. They really honor women here. I mean, you're not getting it. You're not getting it. So I see it everywhere. And I'm like, man, this is just crazy. They're rebranding the Muslim religion. It's not going to stay that way. Okay? Because the very tenets of that religion, they require conquering of the West. You know, anyone who doesn't, there's no tolerance there. No. There's maybe tolerance for a time. And then, Allah Akbar, right? I mean, let's not kid ourselves here, people. I don't know what we're doing. This is insanity. Crazy. Stop it, Gary. Ridiculous. Stay tuned. I'm going to tell you what I know about Alzheimer's and your gut health. Super cool and interesting. Kind of gross, too. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Did you know 80% of beef consumed in the U.S. comes from 4 major corporations, much of it being imported or processed with additives? Want real beef from a real farm? Pumpkin Creek Ranch does things the right way. Local, grass-fed, dry-aged beef with no additives, no shortcuts, just honest quality.
Pumpkin Creek Ranch beef is the real deal. I love knowing exactly where my meat comes from. No additives, no nonsense, just honest quality beef.
Best beef I've ever had. You can taste the difference. Rich, tender, and packed with real flavor. Plus, supporting a local ranch makes it even better.
From pasture to plate, they raise their cattle with care, so you can get rich, natural flavor that only real ranching can provide. Stock your freezer with premium beef you can trust. Visit pumpkincreekranchco.com or call 970-658-0176.
Welcome back. I don't mean to get, all worked up about it, but seriously, I don't know what's going on here. Like, what are you doing? What are these people doing? Let me tell you, it's just so obvious and it's so tiring, anything to be different. Okay, cool. Like, you didn't grow up as a Muslim and you're converted to Muslim, and then, you're being showcased on an American show about how great it is to not be American, but to do something different and be oppressive. Stop trying to make this cool. You're trying so hard. And, there may be some people that aren't quite clued in to what you're trying to do here, and you may be able to capture a few. But this, I was glad to see in the comments of this tweet that people were not happy about it. They were just roasting Gary for this. And I don't know, but I know that people pay to go on shows. And I got to think, who's flipping the bill for this? Where did this agenda come from? What are we doing? I don't like it. But you know what? I forgot my favorite segment. So before we talk about Alzheimer's, I want to go into our American moment, because as I have told you many times over and over now, there is a movement to condition you into thinking that you do not have a culture in this country. That, it's just a bunch of, there is no culture in America. It is just a bunch of immigrants. And so there's no culture. And that is a lie. And so I've been taking it upon myself to just expose a few things about American culture. And one of the defining cultural traits of America is public expression as a civic duty. This is your culture. It's your civic duty to express yourself, to exercise your right to free speech. Now, again, think about this. Picking away, tearing down all of the culture of America, and then telling you don't have a culture, right? Free speech has been under attack severely under attack. Why is that? Well, because the outlets that facilitate free speech, online platforms, there's some things going on there. And it's much like the other things we've been talking about today, right? Like the corruption, the backdoor deals, the pay to play, that type of thing. It's going on there. And so a lot of these platforms have been, not recognizing that free speech is one of the primary traits of the culture in America. So one of the most uniquely American cultural traits is the practice of public expression. The belief that speaking out, debating openly, and voicing your beliefs is not only a right, but a responsibility. Americans don't just value free speech, they demonstrate it loudly, visibly, and often. It shows up in American culture these ways: protests, public protests, marches, town halls, open forums, commentary, radio, podcasts, independent media, signs, shirts, bumper stickers, and yard displays. Like when you think about this being defined in this way, I just keep thinking about all the things that went against American culture. Like people getting kicked off of planes for wearing t-shirts that say things that other people don't like. Like, you're un-American if you're doing stuff like that. There's plenty of things that I don't like. I would never ask somebody to take their shirt off because I don't like what their shirt says. Who do you think you are? And where do you think you're living? You don't belong here if that's how you think. You're not part of the culture. Signs, shirts, bumper stickers, yard displays, legal protections for speaking against government eroded because of what? Weaponized health safety. Legal protections, right, for speaking against government, passionate debate in public and private spaces, whistleblowing and exposing wrongdoing, citizens openly challenging institutions, leaders, and ideas. In many countries, dissident is dangerous. In America, dissent is part of the culture. It's in its DNA. Free speech isn't just a constitutional line, it's a national behavior. Americans believe that voice matters, your opinion deserves space, disagreement is expected, not feared. Where did that go? Where did that go? The slow erosion, right? So many people now, I don't know if you're in business or whatever, but so many people, even customer service, like people are terrified of conflict. Even the smallest conflict, they can't handle it. And guess what? That's like part of being human. You're going to get called out from time to time. You got to deal with it. You're going to be okay. Expect it. Take personal responsibility and move on. Open dialogue keeps power in check. See, when you're silenced, power is not kept in check. That's the way this whole experiment is designed, for people to be able to keep power in check. If you're silenced, you can't do that. And I know what it's like to be silenced. And I didn't think it would be such a big deal, but it is a big deal. It is a big deal. It impacts you. You would think, who cares? I can't go on Facebook. I can't go here or whatever. No, it morally rocks you. Like you feel like, what? It'd be one thing if we grew up in a country where censorship was part of its culture. You can't say certain things. Say like the Middle East, right? If you grow up there, you don't expect to be able to say whatever you want, dress the way you want, do what you want. But when you grow up here, you do. You do expect it. And so when it's taken from you, you learn a very valuable lesson. It's not good to silence people. You want people, even the outliers that are way out on the fringes, you want to hear what they're saying. You want to hear what they're saying because the minute you shut them up, they get dangerous. The public square belongs to the people. This trait, the bold public demonstration of free expression, is one of the clearest markers of American identity around the world. We're known for it. Why? Well, this historical event, 1735, there was a trial of John Peter Zenger, the court case that helped establish freedom of the press and free speech in America. It was in 1735, before America was even a nation. A newspaper printer named John Peter Zenger was arrested in New York for publishing articles that criticized the royal governor. Back then, speaking against the government was considered a crime, even if it was true. Zenger sat in jail for months. His articles were labeled seditious libel, and the government wanted him silenced. But at trial, Zenger's lawyer made a revolutionary argument. The truth cannot be libel. And the jury agreed, and Zenger was acquitted. This was the first major victory for free expression in the colonies. It set the cultural and legal foundation for the idea that citizens have the right to criticize government. Truth is a legitimate defense. Honest public discourse cannot be criminalized. A free press protects the people. The Zenger trial later influenced the writing of the First Amendment, embedding free speech into the American identity. It remains one of the clearest examples of America's long-standing cultural commitment to public expression, dissent, and truth-telling. The people that say that you don't have a culture, they don't want to acknowledge this. They don't want to acknowledge this because they don't want you to have this culture. And so these people, these useful idiots out there that were trying to shut people up, shame on you. You don't understand it. And one day it's going to come back to you. And then you're going to get the hard lesson of understanding what it's like to not have free speech. I pray that that doesn't happen, because if it does, we're probably in a really bad spot. But you are the people. If you were calling for people, I don't call for anybody. Talk. Keep talking. Especially if you're wrong. Keep talking. Keep talking. If you're lying, please, come on. More. Because it's only a matter of time. That's your American moment for today. Remember, it is part of your culture. It's how we do things around here. It is how we do things around here. Around here, we believe in free speech. Doesn't matter what you're saying. You have the right to say it. All right. I have one more quick clip. Well, I don't know if we can get it in. Maybe let's go straight to it. Go straight to the clip, Jason, and we'll see if we can squeeze it in. If we have to cut it off early, we'll cut it off early, and then we'll go into the health topic.
He couldn't remember much. And we gave him the microbiome of his wife. And essentially, he improved his mini mental status from 21 to 26 to 29, and then started remembering his daughter's date of birth.
Wow.
It was the first case of using the poop of the wife and implanting it into the husband. It was an interesting case because we started looking at Alzheimer's and gut problems. And I remember going to Dr. Sheldon Jordan, and I said, look, I improved this guy. And he started paying attention. So he said to me, we need to analyze the stools of all these patients to see the microbiome of all these patients with Alzheimer's. I also went to Dr. Barodi because Dr. Barodi was the pioneer of fecal transplant. Fecal transplant being the procedure where you take stools from a healthy donor and you put it in a non-healthy with Clostridium difficile. That's the only indication that it's approved for in America. And when you put it in a patient with C. diff, you improve the C. diff. But in this case, we improved Alzheimer's. I called Dr. Barodi, who is the pioneer of fecal transplant, who started doing fecal transplant in the 80s. And he basically said, you need to publish this case. It took me a long time to publish the case. And that was the beginning. That was the beginning of looking at, is there such a thing as a gut-brain connection? We kind of suspected it, right? Because again, the brain is connected to the blood vessels, to the bowels. So it is possible that whatever is in your gut goes to your brain, right? And vice versa. It's connected with nerves. It's connected with lymphatics. So it is possible that that brain-gut connection is occurring, maybe via the vagus nerve, microbes sending toxins, microbes sending metabolites to the brain, right? Because all these microbes secrete things, right? So, when we talk about methane gas, that's secreted by microbes, right? So is there a microbe in your gut that's over-secreting methane and therefore it's going to your brain and making you kind of, off? So I think that was the case that.
Some very interesting science there. She's talking about poop transplants and your microgut biome. Of course, your brain is connected to your body, the mind-body connection. It is the future, and understanding it will change everything for your health. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with your health topic. You're not going to want to miss it.
Did you know that nearly 70% of Americans struggle with their health every single day? That's why we are reaching out to health professionals and to anyone who simply has a heart for helping people. Right now, there's an opportunity to make a real difference in people's lives while building a flexible income stream for yourself. Whether you're already working in health, wellness, or just passionate about seeing people thrive, we want to connect with you and introduce you to our system. Together, we can provide real solutions that empower people to take control of their health and create lasting impact. If you've been looking for a way to combine purpose with income, this is it. Visit simplehealthincome.com or text 720-764-7448. That's simplehealthincome.com or text 720-764-7448. We look forward to working with you.
Here's your chance, gentlemen. Here is your chance. You want to knock it out of the park for your lady this Christmas season? I got you. She's been looking at that skincare. And what a gift that is, right? A lot of ladies, they don't want to spend the money on skincare, but it's important to us. And so if you are thinking, I want to give the gift of wellness, I want to give her something like a skincare protocol, all you got to do is book an appointment with me. Because here's your chance to get the best Christmas present that you could get for your lady. I'll walk you through it. It'll be painless, I promise. Set up an assessment with me at naturallyinspiredstore.com. Together, we'll spend a little time, figure out what your lady friend's needs are, and we'll put together a lovely Christmas present that will get you a lot of points. Trust me. Trust me, it'll get you a lot of points. So book it today at naturallyinspiredstore.com. Look forward to working with you guys. Skincare is a wonderful present, and I know many women would really appreciate it. So take it from me. This will get you a lot of brownie points. So go to naturallyinspiredstore.com today. So Dr. Sabine Hazen, I believe is her last name. She has been working on this poop implants and having a lot of success, and especially with Alzheimer's and autism. And so this, again, just reinforces the fact that we know our gut has an enormous amount of impact on how our brain functions. And so really interesting science as that moves forward. It's moving forward slow, not fast enough. But that's just the way this system is set up. It's not set up for these types of advancements. I don't think you can patent poop. Pretty sure you probably can't. If you could patent poop, you rest assured that this would be done already. This would be approved. But much of it isn't. So anyway, some exciting stuff there, because it really proves the theory as far as prevention goes, how important it is to support your gut microbiome. So today's health topic is about arthritis, and that leads right into gut microbiome. So here are some kind of unknowns about arthritis. So number one, sometimes there can be hidden food sensitivities that cause arthritis. And I put it in quotations because when people think about arthritis, again, the allopathic model has, given us the conditioning that this you can never get rid of this. This forever, right? Is it though? Is it? I'm not sure. So if you get my drift, right? So hidden food sensitivity. So most people think that arthritis is part of aging, but food-triggered immune reactions can inflame joints from the inside out. And why do you have food sensitivities? Well, sometimes certain medications can cause food sensitivities, and you can be on these medications for a long time and not even realize that they're creating these food sensitivities within you. So that's something to consider when it comes to why you have food sensitivities. A lot of people think, oh, I can't eat dairy. Why? Why can you not eat dairy? Right? There's a reason for that. And a lot of times it leads back to medications. It leads back to injections that have created an immune response in your body to these types of foods. So it increases gut permeability, which then causes immune activation, which leads to joint pain. Number two, a chronic low-grade infection can cause arthritis-like symptoms. Functional medicine recognizes that certain infections can trigger joint inflammation. Things like Lyme or Epstein-Barr virus or parvovirus or mycoplasma or chronic sinus infections, even dental infections. These send inflammatory messages into circulation that lodge in vulnerable joints. Another one is gut dysbiosis or leaky gut, right? 70% of our immune system sits in the gut. So when the gut lining is compromised with bacterial fragments, they can enter the bloodstream, landing in joints and triggering arthritis-like pain. So what if you cleaned all this up? Would you still have arthritis? Some other reasons that you might not know is mitochondrial dysfunction, because mitochondria power the cartilage repair. And when they're weakened by stress or chemicals, toxic overload, or even deficiencies in your nutrition, or say chronic illness or medications or whatever, It can't regenerate. Cartilage just can't regenerate. And inflammation and friction worsen, especially if you're not supplementing with collagen. And then you get this diagnosis of arthritis and you feel like you have this for the rest of your life because that's what you're told. You get put on medication. You know the story. So supplementation is key here. Collagen, polyphenols for inflammation. Omega-3s are fantastic for joints. Another reason could be environmental toxins that damage joint tissue. So toxins often accumulate in synovial fluid and connective tissue. So things like glyphosate tend to accumulate there. Glyphosate's everywhere now. We're finding it in human tissue, right? Because it's being sprayed everywhere. Heavy metals also being sprayed from the sky, right? Weather modification. Solvents, even mold. PFAS. Those are forever chemicals. Phthalates, petrochemicals. These irritate immune pathways and disrupt collagen integrity. Poor lymphatic drainage and fascial stagnation. So joints depend on lymph flow for detoxification. Sedentary living, shallow breathing from being stuck in fight or flight. Dehydration. Poor fascia mobility. This all leads to swelling. It leads to stiffness, joint inflammation, toxic buildup, and maybe even a diagnosis. So, we talked about gut dysbiosis. Where are we here? So mitochondria power cartilage repair. They're weakened by stress, chemicals, nutrient deficiencies. So gut dysbiosis we covered. So the bottom line is this. Arthritis isn't just wear and tear. It's not the old football injury, just that. It's not just that. You may have had an old injury, and it may be worsened because of your lifestyle. But there's always a road to redemption here. The body wants to repair and regenerate. It wants to. Are you giving it the materials it needs to do that? So it's not just wear and tear. It's often immune related. It can be gut related. It can be toxicity driven. It can be that you're lacking mitochondrial support. It could be diet related. It can be the fact that you're losing collagen at 1% a year, as we do after the age of 20. And we always have to ask why. Get to root cause, right? Why is the joint inflamed? Instead of just treating the pain or the swelling or the symptom, we need to get to the bottom of why. We're taught right now through this allopathic model, it's idiopathic, we don't know why, or it's genetic and you can't do anything about it. Not true. Not true. We've got to push for root cause. So medications or immune activation events can lead to food sensitivities. So food sensitivities do not appear out of nowhere. They occur when the immune system becomes dysregulated and the gut barrier becomes compromised. So there are several ways medication or immune stimulation can contribute to that environment. The gut barrier disruption, so leaky gut. What kinds of medications contribute to that? NSAIDs, acid blockers, PPIs, antibiotics, steroids, antidepressants, birth control pills. This all weakens the gut lining and allows partial digested food proteins to slip into the bloodstream and create that immune system response because they see these proteins as invaders, your body does, and sensitivities then form to those foods. So one of the primary root causes of new food reactions is these medications. Immune hyperactivation after illness or immune events. So viral infections, bacterial infections, high fevers, puts the body on high alert. So don't just accept a diagnosis without looking for root cause. It's not necessarily a lifetime sentence. Thanks for listening, everybody. This is Naturally Inspired Radio. We'll be back tomorrow.
Are you ready to stay informed and inspired 24/7? Tune in to Naturally Inspired Radio anytime, anywhere. Visit naturallyinspiredradio.com, or for the best mobile experience, download the Simple Radio app. Search for Naturally Inspired Radio, save it to your favorites, and click on the graphic to listen instantly. Catch live broadcasts, revisit past shows, dive into long-form podcast conversations, and discover rare, censored presentations by leading health experts. Plus, explore documentaries uncovering the hidden truths of occult and esoteric history. Stay connected, stay inspired. Naturally Inspired Radio is always at your fingertips. Tune in now. For health questions or comments, text Tammy directly at 720-303-8868. naturallyinspiredradio.com.